Messages of Oneness, Part 3, Science and Intuition, by earthfriendlylife.net. Our connection and oneness is not limited to other humans. It is extended to all of creation, to all of life, and to all of nature. Unity is not an abstract concept. It is not relegated to only the highest planes of existence. It permeates and fortifies all levels of reality. We must allow ourselves to feel it on a spiritual level, to sense it on an etheric level, to know it on a mental level, and to live it on a material level. Oneness is not for some of us only. Oneness is for all. It cannot and does not exclude. The idea that we are separate from nature has brought us to a state where we have carelessly treated her. We should recognize now that our reckless actions against nature have directly affected our well-being and health, and the livability of all on the greater being, our planet. Here's a quote by David Bohm from Wholeness and the Implicate Order. The attempt to live according to the notion that the fragments are really separate is, in essence, what has led to the growing series of extremely urgent crises that is confronting us today. Indeed, man has always been seeking wholeness, mental, physical, social, and individual. When considering the state of our world, science doesn't hold all of the answers. Though a useful tool, it is fragmented, as it has a tendency to consider only small portions of things. In its aim to control factors, to isolate a sliver of reality, and to examine it from a narrow material view, it limits itself. So scientific results are valid under only certain parameters, and findings can't be extended once the barriers are expanded. Nothing is merely the sum of its examined parts. There is an informing structure that needs to be observed in its integrity. Our holistic intuition holds useful wisdom that respects the integrity of the whole and can help in guiding us and finding answers. There is valuable information compressed in our feelings, deserving of trust, and just waiting to be tapped into. This inner knowledge, in the form of hunches and visceral understanding, is the synthesis of much information from all around us and from all sources. It is aligned with a consciousness of connection and unity. Go into nature and cultivate affinity for that which nourishes, stimulates our senses, and comforts our soul. Nature will feel it and respond to your gratitude in kind. It will seek to remind you of your origin and connection. All parts of the earth, no matter how small or seemingly inanimate, are permeated with a spiritual sentience. Let the tapestry of interwoven frequencies mingle within you. Pick up on the dance of communication. You can learn to feel it and comprehend the messages. Strengthening the strands linking all will help us become worthy stewards who collectively create bliss on earth. We will stop bringing pain to each other and to all on our planet. As we bond together, we will act as a unified, synchronized presence. One pebble dropped into the ocean is felt by the whole sea. Rumi. We are inseparably connected, the earth and all her creatures, including us. Everything is made of the same components. Our bodies came from the earth and will one day return to the earth. Everything we do affects every part of the association and every single one of us. In essence, we are all one. We all participate in the shaping of our world through the molding of our portion of existence. Our oneness is comprised of the interwoven totality of our individual parts. Divisions, margins, and boundaries, though useful to allow things to stand out from one another, are often arbitrary, artificial conventions. Even on a purely physical level, No one and nothing has ever existed in an isolated, contained space. We interact with the air around us and the environment we are in. Even our bodies, which appear to be ours alone, contain more DNA inside that is not ours and is not even human. We host more bacterial cells than human cells. We have 2 to 3 pounds of microbes in our gut alone. These microscopic organisms cohabit the same grand body and cooperate seamlessly together to maintain function. To these bacteria, our bodies may appear as expansive as the universe. Though we may not regularly consider our teeny microbial counterparts, we can't exclude them as part of us, and indeed, without them, we would cease to be. In David Wilcock's book, The Source Field Investigations, Cleve Baxter's findings are summarized. Cleve was a well-regarded CIA-trained polygraph expert, and his evaluation charts are still used to this day. After 18 years of testing humans, Cleve started to test the electrical responses of other life forms. He became well known for determining that plants have awareness, and he showed that they exhibit responses to threats in a similar way that humans do. Interestingly, polygraph tests showed that plants respond to a threat when the threat has simply been thought. It does not even need to be acted upon. He found that plants bond with the people who care for them and show an excited response when they come into the room. They also show a change when the people who care for them show a significant emotional reaction, like being excited, sad, ecstatic, or angry. This effect takes place regardless of the distance between the plant and the caregiving person. The person can be hundreds of miles away and the reactions are simultaneous. He also found that plants and other life forms, like eggs, yogurt bacteria, and even skin cells, have an awareness of each other. He found that everything is in a constant state of interaction. If one life form exhibits stress, death, or suffering, all of them display electrical responses on a polygraph. Distance doesn't affect this finding, and neither does electromagnetic shielding with a Faraday cage. He found that skin cells also seem to know what is happening to the person they were removed from. Even when a person is hundreds of miles away, their skin cells exhibit electrical changes that are in sync with emotional stressors or excitement that their person is experiencing. Cleve Baxter's studies illustrate how life forms affect each other and interact with each other. They also suggest that distance plays no role when it comes to the instantaneous reaction between life forms. It is as though distance is an illusion and we are never really separated at all. We are blessed by the physical division between each other and all other things. These perceived differences give us an appreciation of the beauty in life and the ability to learn from all things. The variation, the colors, the shapes, the fragrances, the purposes, these are the gifts and the wonder of creation. The variances can spark a tender compassion. Contrary to the long upheld theory of the survival of the fittest, research is confirming that nature is cooperative. Groups of species, including people, survive and thrive because they work collaboratively as a compassionate group, not because they fight for resources amongst each other. Interspecies, groups, and the entire ecosystem balance themselves agreeably, guided by a harmonious, connecting wisdom. An organization called HeartMath explores and validates interconnectedness. This important work opens our minds and hearts to the far-reaching implications of unity. During studies, their scientists measured the following results. Human and animal health, cognitive functions, emotions, and behavior are affected by planetary magnetic and energetic fields. The Earth's magnetic fields are carriers of biologically relevant information that connects all living systems. Each individual affects the global information field. Large numbers of people creating heart-centered states of care, love, and compassion will generate a more coherent field environment that can benefit others and help offset the current planet-wide discord and incoherence. The idea that in our reality, every portion contains the encoding of the whole, or the oversight and knowledge of the whole, can be compared to a holograph. A holograph is produced when a laser beam is split and the rays are focused on an image. The interacting lasers create a wave pattern and the arrangement is recorded on film. The pattern can be likened to the interaction between circles of waves on the surface of a lake formed after the rocks are thrown in. The area where the lasers collide produce interference patterns. The recorded interference patterns display the entire 3D image on the film. When holographic film is cut into portions, regardless how small, the sections always depict a perfect representation of the whole image. Every section is a fractal image of the whole. The theory that we are living in and interacting with a holographic reality is one that has some strong support. The holographic theory can explain how nature and the world appear to operate impeccably. We see this in flocks of birds and schools of fish when they travel in a perfectly coordinated dance, moving as a single fluid unit. Reactions and responses within animals are too complex, coordinated, and rapid to be solely dependent upon biochemical reactions. We could surmise there is an informing and all-encompassing structure that provides information needed. In this way, all life is able to adapt to change and seek to attain perfect balance and harmony. Another example is how human stem cells will transform into whatever type of cells they are placed next to. They can become a hair cell when placed in a petri dish with other hair cells, or become a red blood cell when in their company. They are encoded to contain the entire human genetic framework and have the innate ability to turn into any body part required. Each stem cell is essentially a holographic portion of the whole body. At the subquantum level, physicists know that space and distance do not hinder the brilliant communication of atomic parts. As Elaine Aspect's 1982 experiment demonstrated, reactions between affiliated photons are instantaneous, even faster than light. This immediate coordinated response exists regardless of the distance between the parts. So atoms, considered by many to be the building blocks of everything, are never really separated. The distance between them is only a material perception. They behave in a synchronized fashion, and they behave non-locally, as though space between them does not exist at all. All points in space are equal to all other points in space. They are connected by an invisible, informing web. Einstein called this entanglement phenomenon spooky action at a distance. Subatomic parts behave like holographic fractals, with each portion holding the information of the whole within. So if each portion contains the information of the whole, isn't that another way of saying all is connected, all is ultimately one? Everything is ultimately made up of atomic particles, including photons, neutrons, and electrons. These parts contain and comprise energy. At this level, the dividing line between matter and energy is very blurry. Atoms can be viewed with powerful microscopes as in constant motion and appear to contain little but spinning vortices of energy. Atoms have been shown to hold awareness and can even change their behavior to either that of a particle or an energy wave when they know they are being observed. Energy is continually interacting with the energy around it, in everyone and in everything. Like a holograph, energy waves crisscross to form interference patterns. We are constantly interacting with each other's and the entire Earth's vibrational energy field, picking up information from around us and providing our own energy to the intricate system. It is all part of an interlaced, intelligent, greater whole. There is a multifaceted feedback system between all parts of this mind-like whole. We create a self-organizing web that observes, learns, analyzes, and responds to itself through the informing interactions of its parts. What information are you providing to the greater, coordinated whole?